So good afternoon, everyone. I guess I'll do another intro for myself. My name is Burton Kelso, known as a technology expert. I own a company by the name of Integral, and we're celebrating our 30th year in business. Our business model is the same as Geek Squad. We go on site to help homes and businesses, and obviously seniors, with all of the technology challenges they have. We can go on site, we can do remote tech support, and that leads us to today's presentation, which is scary scams that, I almost forgot the topic. Scary scams that target older adults. I didn't want to use the word senior, I wanted to use the word older adult, and how you can keep them safe. Oh, I guess I can do this myself. I'm gonna have to disappear every now and then. My clicker batteries are dead, so I'm gonna have to do this manually. So I'm gonna tell you right now that cybercrime is a human problem. That means that all of your devices are currently safe from any cyber threat out there. So when you get hacked, when the seniors in your life get hacked, it's because they've allowed someone into their device. It's virtually impossible for cyber criminals to infiltrate any tech device that you have. It doesn't matter if you own a smartphone, it doesn't matter if you own a tablet, laptop, desktop computer, it's all protected from all of the cyber threats out there. So you can be, or have peace of mind knowing that your devices are safe. But what you need to understand is that when it comes to cybercrime, you need to do things in order to prevent yourself from doing stupid stuff, like clicking on links. And I hate to tell you, if you have been hacked in the past 5 years, you or the senior in your life is probably responsible. Now, you really shouldn't feel bad about that, because one of the worst things that we want to see is that you've been hacked, but cyber criminals are after your personal information. Data is huge. That's why we're having problems with TikTok in China. It isn't about the inappropriate content that can show up on TikTok, because that's can happen with any social media app. When it comes to criminals and legitimate companies like Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram, same thing with Snapchat and LinkedIn, their main goal is to get your information, your information, the older adults in your life, their information is worth a lot of money. And that's why we have this issue with TikTok in China, because if you didn't know, if you have a business in communist China, at any time the Chinese government can march into your business and say, hey, we want your information. Now, criminals don't do that. They just come up with ways to gather your information, and the most common method of having that happen is social engineering, which is the act of criminals tricking you into giving out your information. Remember that those old methods of let's get your social security information, or there's a Medicare fraud, or there's a problem with your home warranty, car warranty, or even little Danny fell in a well over in London. We need your personal information in order to get him out. The worst that I've seen with social engineering is we had a customer who, we've got the coffees going over here. No, you're good. I don't mind. I just feel bad. I want to pat someone's back. Yes, exactly. I'm going to say it and then you cough. And then, yeah, there we go. All right, you too. We're on cue. So anyway, the worst social engineering that I've seen is a social engineering attack where we had a customer who was trying to set up Amazon Prime on her TV. She called, and next thing we know, criminals are logged into her computer trying to say, well, we can't set up Amazon on your TV because you have viruses on your computer. Does that make sense to anybody? You're smarter than the average bear. But to give you a definition of what social engineering is, it's the process of criminals on the web imitating legitimate sources in order to get your data, in order to log into your devices, in order to make you think that there is an emergency that they need to get access to your personal stuff. There was an instance, and it works in multiple ways. There was an instance where there was a colleague of mine who purchased a Dell battery from Amazon. They overcharged him. So the vendor calls back in a few days and says, hey, we overcharged you. We need to refund your money. But in order to do that, they needed his driver's license, they needed his credit card, and they needed some other personal information as well. Next thing you know, his Amazon account's hacked, and he's in all sorts of trouble. So if you want to stay safe, and if you want to keep the older adults in your life safe, I need all of you to listen to me. You've got to get out of this mindset of, oh, they're going to hack into my devices, because there are multiple things that are keeping you safe from having your devices, quote unquote, hacked. Number one, everyone's got internet at home, correct? I guess not everyone's like, if you have internet at home, you have a firewall, which is keeping your computers and every device in your home safe and secure for criminals from accessing those devices. If you use cellular data, criminals would have to break into the big three, which are AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, in order to get access to your devices. That's why they say when you work mobile, you should always use a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is basically cellular data, because criminals would have to cripple the big three cellular providers in order to get access to your stuff. You have to get into the cyber mindset of, I'm gonna do everything it takes to make sure that criminals don't trick me into giving out my information. And I know a lot of you are nodding and, oh yeah, Burton, got this. But did you know, recently, a customer of ours got ransomware on their office computers because an employee clicked on a Zoom link to a Zoom meeting. They signed up for a Zoom meeting. You know how you get the link that comes through and says, hey, you're ready to join this meeting? Well, it was a bogus link. The guy clicked on it and it took down the whole office network. So I want you to get in that mindset. It ain't, well, we just got older adults. And don't think that criminals are after older adults only. They're after everybody. Now, older adults usually click on this stuff because they're more trusting. But it can happen to you. So the discussion up here with Nancy is, she said that an FBI agent got hacked.
They called and said his son was in jail in Canada, his grandson.
So hold on, I gotta give you the microphone on this one.
I worked with a guy who was an ex-FBI agent who had retired. He got a call in the middle of the night that his grandson was in jail and to send bail. And they got his entire, and he said, I'm supposed to know better. Yeah. It has become so bad, I won't tell anybody anything. Yeah. I'm like, if I don't know you and had a beer with you, you will know nothing.
But I know your first name and last name, Nancy, so that's all I need.
I don't know anything.
Now, I'm not a hacker, I'm gonna tell you that right now. So let's go through the scams, and I'm gonna announce these out because they're on slides. So number one way that criminals are gonna get access to your information and the older adults in your life information is usually through email phishing, voice call phishing, and text phishing, which is known as, obviously, email phishing. Now, if it's text, it's called smishing, and then SMS, text message, SMS, smishing, not smashing, but smishing. And then finally, voicemail or voice phone call phishing is called vishing. And that's if someone calls and says, hey, Timmy's in a well in London. Or, we've got your son hostage and we need some money. Those are voice scams that are designed to get you to react so that you'll give out your information, or sometimes criminals are just out for a quick buck, so they'll just get your money and then go on. But I've got to tell this story. So my Uncle Ray only shows up to Thanksgiving when I'm showing up because he has computer issues. Swear to God. Told my wife, your Uncle Ray's showing up, he's got computer issues. No, Ray's not going to do that. My uncle, and he's had before. So sure enough, we get there. Ray not only has issues with his laptop computer, and my mother-in-law lives in Abilene, Kansas. Ray lives in Colby, Kansas. Any Kansas folks here? How far is Abilene to Colby? So someone said, hold on. How far?
A good drive.
What? Who said 2.5 hours? Someone said it 4. It's 4 hours. So Ray drove 4 hours to get his computers fixed. So not only did he have his laptop, he brought his desktop and his monitor too. So I play stupid when it comes to family gatherings as far as technology. I really do. I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. But then I go around and call myself the technology expert. So I know my family knows that I'm lying. So luckily Ray had a quick issue. I solved it. He goes home. He proceeds to get scammed. He's $300 in to the scammer. They're telling him that there's all sorts of stuff with his IP, just nonsense. And then Ray called. Burton, what's going on? I'm like, it's a scam, dude. Hang up. Don't talk to him again. So it turns out Ray keeps listening to this scammer. He ends up deep into $3,500 worth of money that they took from him because he believed the scam. I told my wife I was going to raise the rates as far as her family members. He can afford $3,500 to a scammer. He can definitely pay me. But sometimes people get belligerent when it comes to issues because they don't, and it's unfortunate. Ray didn't trust me enough for me to say, hey, it's a scam. Leave it alone. And that's one of the challenges we run into with ourselves and with older adults. So if some tech person's telling you that you need to run away, then you need to run away. But those are the things that we're seeing in today's world. Now, credit card scams are something that you have to deal with. Credit card company calls and says, hey, there's a scam. There's a problem with your card. And there's all sorts of ways that these scams can happen. It can happen if you eat at a small mom and pop restaurant. I guess this is a mom and pop. Maybe I should have said that. But any restaurant, it doesn't matter. But with credit card scams, you always want to call your credit card company to verify what's going on. Now, this is one of my favorite ones because it happened to my mother-in-law, believe it or not. So sextortion scams are when a criminal will find your email and password information that has been leaked on the dark web. And I have to say that a lot of information about you has been leaked on the dark web from data breaches that have been occurring since 2012. So if you wonder, well, golly, how did they get into my Facebook account and hacked it? It's like, well, because you haven't changed your password since 2013 and it's floating around on the dark web. So sextortion scams work when criminals, and this is a sad state with this too. I have to do the youngster thing as well. So with older adults, it happens. You get a message, hey, we caught you on your webcam watching porn. We're gonna tell all your family members about it. And of course, it's a numbers game, and you actually catch somebody who has been watching porn, and then it shows that we know your password too, so they freak out, and then they give money to the criminals. But this sort of information or scams occur because your information is already floating on the dark web. And I'll show you in a little bit how to check it, but that's why a lot of information people already know about you. Because companies that you work with as a side hustle will either sell your data to a third-party vendor who is then hacked, or maybe a company has suffered a data breach that you weren't aware of, and your information's on the dark web, like T-Mobile. Everyone in this room realizes T-Mobile was hacked a while back in November, correct? And if you don't know, now you know, and you probably better call T-Mobile and find out if your data is on the dark web. Because it's not only your phone number, but it's also any information that can be used to assume your identity. Now, my mother-in-law fell for a extortion scam. I want you guys to sit on that for a second. What are the chances that a 75-year-old lady is going to be watching porn on the internet? Slim to none. Slim to none. Well, I don't know that. But she would have probably come out and said, hey, I was watching porn on the web. How do I change my password? Because that's the type of lady she is. But she wasn't. And so I just told her, hey, don't have to worry about anything because the password they said they had, she wasn't using anymore. So I need you to be aware of sextortion schemes, especially for seniors, but also for younger kids, because sextortion scams have targeted youth. So if you have kids, grandkids, and they're surfing on the web and all of a sudden they're sharing nudies and a criminal gets a hold of it, there have been several incidents of kids who have committed suicide because of sextortion scams. So I need you to be aware not only for your senior adults, but for your youngsters as well, because it's huge. Next one everyone in this room knows about, so I shouldn't even talk about it. Medicare, Medicaid, fraud, we all know the deal, right? So tech support schemes are still huge. Company calls, says, hey, there's a problem with your internet, problem with your computer, we're gonna fix it. No one cares about your computer. All they care about is that Microsoft sold you a device, Apple sold you a device, and that you're paying your bill for your internet company. So don't fall for any tech support scam. If you have a senior, fall for that or get contacted, tell them to call the local IT guy. ATM scammers are huge. Most senior adults are gonna want to withdraw cash from the ATM. Skimmers are a device that are placed on an ATM to scan your information. Criminals get it and then they use it they use your number, your credit card number to start making purchases. The best way to avoid skimmers in today's world is to start using the touchless or contactless payment system. Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, even most credit cards now or debit cards have it where you can just tap it at a point of sale system and it'll make the process. And I will warn you, Walmart does not have this in place. Not that you can ever have a skimmer in Walmart, but you want to encourage the older adults in your life to go to places that do the contactless payment system to keep themselves safe. You can even do it at the gas pump, which is where you're going to encounter a credit card skimmer. So charity scams, luckily there's no crisis going on right now, but usually when there's a crisis, oh, there is one. The unfortunate shooting in Nashville a couple of days ago. Whenever you have a situation like that, criminals will send out GoFundMes or any of that stuff, saying we're collecting money for the victims of whatever tragedy has occurred. Let the senior adults know that they need to go with legitimate sources only. If there's a GoFundMe, and I hate to say it, even if it's like a family person that you know, I don't know if I would do the GoFundMe, because criminals are very crafty. They could see that maybe little Johnny or Susie passed away or has an incurable disease and set up a fake GoFundMe account. So always go to the source. Always tell your older adults, go to the source. Don't just see it and be heartbroken and say, oh, I need to donate to this fund. Have them always go to the source to make sure that they're giving money to the right people rather than someone else. That time of the year with IRS and tax scams, remember, and tell all your older adults this, the IRS will cut down the Amazon forest sending you paper notices before contacting you via someone showing up to your door. Yeah, I mean, they don't mess around. But yeah, they'll cut down a forest before they call you and say that there's a problem with your taxes. So if you have older adults that may be in tax situations, have them call the IRS rather than falling victim to someone saying, hey, you owe taxes. Romance scams are horrible. Horrible. Think Tinder swindler, like for the 65 and up crew. There are all sorts of criminals out there wanting to trick older men, older women with romance scams and will take them to the bank. We have had several of our customers fall for them. One with fatal results, with our customer ending up not taking his life, but letting himself go because he found out that it was a romance scam. Senior adults are lonely people. Make sure you keep them entertained. Make sure that you make them aware that there is any scammer out there that wants to take advantage of them. And that the keywords are, well, number one, have them meet face to face if possible, as soon as possible. Number two, anyone that's asking for money, you want to run away from, because it's going to start with, oh, I can't pay my rent, to, golly, wouldn't it be nice to have a yacht on the Mediterranean? I mean, they upgrade. Google search scams are notorious, and even you people fall for it. Google scams work when you say, golly, I need to contact somebody for support. So you Google the number, and a bogus number comes up, because with Google, we're trained in our minds, and so are older adults, that the top Google search results are the best. They're the paid ones, and no one looks for that. Thank you, they are sponsored. Thank you, Nancy, yes. Preach it. Say it. You're not hearing me. Say it, Nancy. But anyway, there are ways to get around Google search, but make sure that when you look up support, or when those older adults are looking up a number for something, that they actually visit the website or the company and get the number. Don't go by the one that's listed on Google, because 9 times out of 10, that's going to be an actual scammer who wants to steal your money. It'll go to, man, I'm having plumbing issues, to, well, you know you've got a leaky drain because you've got viruses on your computer. Let me log in there, or give me some money so that, yeah, well, that won't happen. But yeah, it's like, give me some money, we'll figure this out and fix that leaky pipe remotely. So unwanted subscription scams. Hey, did you know your subscription to Norton's expired? Or we recently charged you $400 for another year of Norton antivirus, or McAfee, or Amazon. Those are the unwanted subscription scams, when someone's saying, oh my gosh, I didn't want that to happen. So rather than to check their bank statement, they're going to call the number that's in the email and say, I didn't want this, because that's going to be the direct way to handle it, correct? It's not. It's a scammer who says, well, yes, we are so sorry that happened. Let me get your credit card or debit card number so that I can refund that back. And we all know good and well that if you've done business with a business entity, they already have your card on file, so they should just be able to issue it back. So let those older adults know, if they get those notices saying that they owe, or that they've been charged, that they're bogus and that they need to ignore them. Now, we just talked about this. I should let Nancy talk about family emergency scams. And if an FBI agent falls for one of these, there's a good chance that the older adult in your life is going to fall for one of these as well. So my best suggestion is, if you're going on vacation, if you're sending a kid away abroad for something, let the family members in your life know. Even if you haven't talked to your mom or dad or aunt or whoever for 20 years, send them an email to protect them, to say, hey, little Johnny's going over to Spain. If you know, just in case you get a call that says he's in Addis Ababa, Saudi Arabia, it ain't him. Protect them. Let people know, because I know some people will just go on vacation and they don't tell anybody. You should probably.
on Facebook.
Well, yeah, they do put it on Facebook. But you know, the older adult in your life's not going to be looking on Facebook. Or it's so bad now, Nancy, is that the algorithm on all social media is so jacked up that you may think, oh, I posted it on Facebook. Heck, there's people I'm connected with every day. I don't see their stuff. So you have to let them know that there's a problem and that you've gone out of town. So the big one, another big one is, since we're talking about social media, clone social media accounts. How many of you got notice from someone that says, I've been hacked? There's a difference. If your social media account has been hacked, you will no longer have access to it. Passwords will be changed and the account's lost. Because if that happens, if it's been hacked and your older adult can't get into it, there are companies that are so clever that if you post that you've been hacked on social media, they will search that keyword hack and say, hey, call us. We can get your account back. Another scam. Now, if your account has been duplicated, you will still have access to your social media account. All that you need to do is to change your profile picture. Let your friends know that it's not you sending those messages, and have your friend report that bogus account. Don't fall, or don't have them fall for those scams that say we can get your account back. If you lost the account, you just have to create another one. Now, ransomware scams for most older adults are pretty easy. A message pop up and says, oh my gosh, there's a problem with your internet connection, or Windows Defender, there's a problem. And that's what Ray fell for, is, oh, there's a problem with Windows Defender. Call this number. That is a kind of a ransomware attack because it takes control of your computer. In most instances, if a message like that pops up, all you have to do is reboot your computer. That's it. It gets rid of the message. But it'll scare you because it's got the siren going on and all that other nonsense. So when your older adults get ransomware messages on their computer, have them turn it off. Because sometimes they'll try to control alt delete. That didn't work. Tell them to hold the power button down for about 3 to 5 seconds. Turn it off, turn it back on, it'll get the message. But the key thing with that as well is when it comes to the number, what should you never do? Call it. Never call that number. Because they're very tricky. Just ask Ray, who owes me about $3,500. Oh, I got these backwards. Let me go back. Let's go and then we'll go back. So, number one, you want to make sure, or how do you protect yourself from these scams? Now I can go forward because this is what I was going to do. Number one, have the older adults in your life go to this website, haveibeenpwned.com. It will do two things. Number one, it will let you know if your information is floating on the dark web. And it's kind of like how it's spelled, haveibeenpwned.com. No question mark, no little smiley face at the beginning. And I would challenge all of you, if you want to look, you can see how many times you've been pwned to see if your information is on the dark web. You can do it right now, yeah.
I mean, that particular.
Yeah, that particular website is designed to see if your information has been leaked in a data breach. And if you have any older adult that you love in your life, you will have them go to this site as well, so they can understand where all of the spam messages are coming from, where all the text spam messages are coming from. And the reason why you need to check, two reasons. Number one, email. Email spam you want to try to get rid of, and you also want to find out if your username and passwords are floating on the dark web. Number two, one of the scams I did not talk about is SIM card fraud scam. SIM card fraud scam is when criminals take your cellular number and they can call your provider with your credentials and transfer your number to another phone, which they will use to call people with phishing or smishing scams. So you can also, with Have I Been Pwned, put your phone number in as well to find out if your phone number is on the dark web. And when it comes to your mobile phone numbers, and I know you're all guilty of using those as your home number, make sure that you only give out your mobile number to close friends and family members. If you want to protect yourself, if you want to protect those older adults in your life, then if they don't have a flip phone, if they have a smartphone, you need to set up a WhatsApp number for them, and you need to set up a Google Voice for them to use as their public number. Cell phones in today's day and age of cybercrime should be only giving out to your close personal family and friends. Again, phishing is like the number one way you're going to get hacked. So educate your older adults to identify phishing scams by looking at who the email is coming from. Look at where that text message is coming from. When it's a voice call and you don't recognize the number, just hang up. That's what voicemail's for. I'm on all of the stations in the metro area, and anytime a reporter calls and says, hey Burton, we need you for a story, I let it go to voicemail, because a lot of times I don't recognize the number. And trust me, if someone wants you bad enough, they're gonna leave a voicemail message. So don't freak out and think I need to answer every call that comes into my phone. Also, make sure that you're careful where you click on stuff. Every link wasn't meant to be clicked on. So if you don't recognize the link, I know on Facebook you'll get instant messages that say, hey, did you see who died? And obviously for an older adult, that's like, well, heck, who's dead now? That's attractive. You may think it's stupid, but the older you get, more people die, and you want to find out who's still on this planet. So educate yourself not to click on stuff. Another thing, start backing your stuff up. You may not think it matters to older adults, but think about all those photos and videos that they want to have. We had a customer whose husband died. There was a dispute, so they ran off with her computer. It was like a dispute between some kids and her, and anyway her computer disappeared. But luckily years ago I put her information up in Google Photos. So all her photos are there. All we had to do was load the account onto her new devices, and she had access to her folders. Older adults love this, so make sure that you have set up some sort of backup on their smartphone, computer, or tablet. One of the easiest things to do is to just install Google Drive on a computer or a device, and it'll back up photos. Microsoft OneDrive will automatically back up photos. Dropbox kind of will back up photos, and so will iCloud. So install those on their devices, so if something major happens, then they can always retrieve their data. Oh, scary. So passphrases. Passphrases you should use and encourage them to use instead of passwords. Passphrases are two unrelated words that make a strong password. Well, I shouldn't say popular, but passphrase examples are like stinky chicken or dull elephant. How about black, I almost said Audi, but we'll say black banana. That's kind of a thing, but it's not something that someone would use as a password. So passphrases, get into the habit of using them, and if you can't think of your own, there's a website that I want you to take note of called useapassphrase.com that will help you and help the older adults come up with passphrases so that they can keep all their stuff safe and secure, because cyber criminals love nothing than to have someone who's using the same passwords for all of their online accounts. And then let's talk about how do you keep track of all those passphrases. Use a password keeper. Obviously you don't want to use LastPass. Why? Anyone know? They were hacked. They were hacked. So don't use LastPass, but the easiest thing that you can use is whatever browser, especially this works great for older adults, whatever browser they use, whether it be Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Opera, Brave, am I missing one? I think I got them all. Oh, Edge. Oh, that doesn't count. But no, Edge does count. So you can use the password keeper in your browsers. Two reasons. Number one, for older adults, it's easy because they're using the browser anyway. They go to a website they love, it fills in all the stuff. They don't have to remember anything at all. Also, well, browser-based password keepers will alert you if your passwords have been leaked on the dark web. And that way you have noticed that I need to change my passphrase in order to keep my account safe. Because again, data breaches occur all the time, and most companies aren't forthcoming when it comes to your personal data. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as Google stamps, there's a website called Get Human. You need a number to a live person? Go to gethuman.com. Put the company number or name in, it will generate a number. Every older adult you know needs to know about Get Human.
Older adult?
We're talking seniors here.
I'm sure it's 60. I mean, everybody needs that.
Everyone does need Get Human. But gethuman.com is a website you can go to. Need support from Amazon? Type in Amazon. It'll generate a number of a live person. Need a number for HP? You can generate a number and it'll automatically generate a number and you can call that person. So again, gethuman.com. Now, like a lot of free websites, Get Human is a website that has a lot of ads on it. do not click on them. Do not come to me if you clicked on one to say it's Burton. I got infected. Like, well, the only way you would have got infected from getting human is if you clicked on a link. So go somewhere else. Or pay us to help you. Oh my goodness. So 2FA, two-factor authentication. Simply put, you set up your online accounts to allow this to happen. And trust me, older adults can do this because if they log into a source, then it'll send them a text message verifying that it's them that's logging in. Because all websites now are designed to know where you normally log in from. And for a lot of older adults, they're logging in from their long-term care facility, their senior living facility, and it's gonna store that information. Now, if for some reason they decide to visit you, or they go traveling and they try to log into their popular site, it's gonna pop up and say, hey, you're logging in from an unfamiliar location. Now, this two-factor authentication also helps you if cyber criminals get access to your stuff. So if they get hold of your password, I'll get you in a second. What am I saying? You're saying I got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I knew that. I knew I had 5 minutes. But yeah, they'll notify you, or you'll get a notification via text message to let you know that someone from an odd location is logging into your account. So every online account, every senior you know and love in your life, you need to enable two-factor or two-step authentication so that will let them know if a criminal is trying to get into their stuff. So finally, if you see any fraud, you need to report it to the FBI, you need to report it to local authorities, because even though a lot of cyber criminals are overseas and cyber criminals are made up of terrorists, third world countries, I shouldn't say third world countries, but foreign countries, and a lot of that activity takes place overseas. But we do have domestic cyber criminals. So when you report this to the FBI, report this to your local authorities, it helps them build a database of what current cyber crimes are going on. So if you have an older adult or yourself that gets scammed, be sure to report it. Don't be embarrassed about it. What's that old commercial? Don't suffer in silence. I was gonna sing it, but no, I can't do it. Don't suffer in silence. Isn't that how that ad went? Yeah, so please don't, And finally, ask for help. If there's something that you see that's weird, ask for help. Don't suffer in silence. So report it, but at the same time, if you see something odd, ask someone that you can reach out and touch to find out if it's an actual scam or a threat. We have people calling the office all the time, and of course they're like, well, I don't want to be stupid or anything, but it's like, no, you don't want to be scammed either, So ask for help when it comes to cybercrime, because it's always evolving and changing. So make sure that you are aware of what phishing emails are made up of, and then if you don't know, ask so that you can better educate yourself so that you don't click on stupid stuff. So finally, that's me, Burton Kelso, the technology expert. Oh, we've got questions.
Just one question.
We got 5 minutes.
How would you know if it's a bad or good Zoom thing?
Okay, so here, I'll let you ask on the mic so that I don't have to say.
Hello, you said something about somebody clicked on the Zoom conference. How would you know it was a bad click?
Well, one of the things that you want, grab the mic back. So when it comes to a Zoom link or any other link like for Teams or Skype or anything like that, you want to email back the entity who sent you the link to verify that that's the proper link for the Zoom or online meeting. Because yes, under most circumstances, if you get a link, you're going to assume that it's legitimate, but you always want to verify, is this the Zoom meeting? Because every Zoom meeting, every online meeting has a link that is going to take you to the actual meeting. So, hope that answered your question. So I'll be around a little bit. One more, and then, yes. Oh, hold on.
So when you said to go to Have I Been Cloned website,
See,
looks
that-
kind of
That's what
odd.
happens when you're around the corner, right?
Yeah, it
That's
looks,
not the website. It's
have,
have I been pwned E-W-N-E-D.
Okay, cause we can't see the.
I know.
Sorry, you guys, cause we are.
Okay.
Have I been done? E-W.
What happens if it says we have?
I'll send it to you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Have
Y'all
I
already
been
got a
cloned?
cell number.
I was gonna say, have I been cloned?
Oh, okay. We can't see over here.
Right.
I
Have I been cloned?
Trying to find
I
out.
know, right?
haven't clicked on it.
Oh, good. So one last question. Sandra up here asked, what happens if you've been pwned? If you've been pwned, that means that you need to immediately change your password to whatever online account was associated with whatever data breach. So if LinkedIn came up, then you would want to change your password for LinkedIn, and so on and so on. Out of curiosity, who thinks they had the most pwned incidents if they went to the website? Let's say 20 and more. Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. That's common.
Freaks me out.
Well, because it's a data breach, but if you have 20, that's a big issue. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I'll be hanging around for a little bit. So if you have any more tech questions, give me a shout out. So again, Burton Kelso, check me out online. Thank you.
For those of you who may be new, we collect $2 and a business card in our buckets when you come in.